sister's a therapist and I tell jokes. We both want to help all kinds of folks.
Hello, and welcome to My Sister's a Therapist. My name is Virginia Jones. I'm a stand-up comedian. I do this podcast with my sister, Laura Ryan, who's a therapist, and that's why we call it that.
I'm Laura Ryan, licensed marriage and family therapist, Virginia's sister. Virginia is a stand-up comedian who does a lot of things that are coming up soon.
I'm always doing a lot of things that are coming up soon.
I was going to say the dates, but then I thought, well, we don't know when this is going to air.
Right. A thing that comics do that makes other comics crazy is they will say, I'm super stoked. I have a big announcement to make. And then there never is any announcement.
That's a very irritating quality.
They just want someone to pay attention to them.
I want to know the part two. I need to know.
Laura, what's our topic this week?
I'm going to play an audio clip.
Ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
Yeah. And have you seen this movie lately?
Not lately, but I know it's incredibly violent.
Well, so it's Dirty Harry, which I think I saw it when it came out. And I was just looking for this clip because I was like, should we call this episode, Do I Feel Lucky Punk? Maybe we will.
You tell us. Did we?
Did we? And so anyway, I found this on YouTube and it's basically Clint Eastwood is eating a sandwich and for no explicable reason starts running out in the streets and shooting people. The man he's yelling at is a BIPOC person laying on the ground. He's already been shot and Clint Eastwood is about to shoot him in the face. What? How is this okay?
But he's a cop looking for revenge. The 70s loved a movie about a cop looking for revenge.
It didn't age well. It looks very racially motivated and not okay.
Really upsetting. Yeah.
That's our episode. See you later.
So our episode, if I'm understanding us right, is who I should and should not shoot in the face.
And do you have enough bullets? That's the whole episode.
And do I have enough bullets?
The end. This episode is going to be about luck. The psychology of luck.
Cool.
I have kind of the same as I have issues with manifestation. I have issues with people who ascribe to the idea that some are lucky and some are not.
I probably shouldn't say here that I think that I'm a very lucky person.
Well, that makes sense because you were born into an upper middle class family and you're white.
You know, that hasn't been proved.
Being born in the United States used to actually be lucky.
Right.
Lately, it hasn't felt that way.
Who knows? Right. Okay. So I guess my first thought is if you think that some people are just lucky and some people are just not lucky, and you feel like you're one of the unlucky people, that's going to impact your life in negative ways.
Right. There was a study done by Dr. Wiseman. It is referred to in The Art and Science of Luck, written by Sahil Bloom. So Dr. Wiseman's study, lucky people seem to understand and noted that they often took alternate routes to and from work so that they would meet new people and see new things. They talked about unique strategies for talking to different groups of people at parties, and they bounced back from seemingly negative encounters and maintained a positive outlook for the future.
I do think that having a positive outlook is important, not in a manifestation way, but in a, this is your only life and be positive about it when you can.
There are a few baseline factors out of our control, which probably have no effect on the amount of luck that we have. Where you were born, who you were born to, and acts of God.
When we say acts of God, what do we mean?
Well, I think, tornadoes, submarine explosions.
Okay. Yeah, sure. If you're on a submarine that explodes, that is unlucky.
Yes. And so I was trying to figure out, is there like a correlation for, there's some lottery winners who win multiple times. What is that about?
I would say that they probably play a lot.
Yeah, but like our dad played a lot. He didn't win a lot.
True.
He didn't hit the jackpot 15 times like Armand Paganelli. He won 16 lotteries in 2 years. But I think it was a little sus because he bought tickets between 2013 and 2014 at a drugstore owned by himself and his brothers.
That is strange, isn't it?
Many thought that he was cheating. It seemed curious that the first person to win so many tickets purchased them from his own store.
Even if it was just that store holding so many winning tickets, it would be sus. If it was like different people buying them.
Exactly. Deborah Brown, 2019 was an extraordinary year for Deborah Brown. She won 30 lotteries on the same day.
How many lotteries did she play?
All the tickets she initially bought had the same combination of numbers, 1031. She bought each of them at the Chesterfield County gas station, which she did not own. She bought another 10 tickets of the same combination from the same gas station after seeing the numbers multiple times throughout the day.
That is very odd.
That is very odd. What about Joan Ginter?
Tell me all about Joan.
Well, She defied insurmountable odds when she won the lottery 4 times. In 1993, she clinched her first win when she shared a Lotto Texas jackpot of $2.4 million. Shout out to Texas. She hit big again in 2006 and won $2 million from a holiday millionaire scratch-off. Ginther enjoyed success again in 2008 as she won $3 million by taking part in the Millions and Millions game. Her next win was a jackpot of $10 million, and it came from $50 worth of scratch-off cards. Her total lottery winnings summed to $20 million. People thought that her background as a math professor and a PhD from Stanford may have contributed to her success, but considering the odds of winning are so low, we suspect she was just fortunate. What do you make of that?
If you've listened to our previous episode about happiness, you will know that people who do win the lottery multiple times are no happier than people who have lost a limb.
It's not people who have lost a limb. It's people who become quadriplegic through accidents.
People who lose the use of all 4 limbs. Or what about people who are very unlucky? Like there's a guy who has the Guinness World Record for being struck by lightning 7 times.
I feel like he has some sort of electromagnetic field issue. Maybe that needs to be addressed. So what are the odds of winning the lottery more than once? Actually, winning the lottery once has no impact on your future odds of winning, says Dr. Mark Glickman, a statistics professor at Harvard.
This is the idea of a flip coin has no memory. Every time you flip a coin, your odds are 50-50. The fact that you've had heads 20 times in a row does not affect the coin in the future.
Yeah, that's very hard to believe, though. It feels like, I don't know, that feels like there would be some...
It feels like there's some connected odds, but there are not. So yes, if you have won the lottery once or won the lottery no times, you have the same chance of winning the lottery again.
Right. So if somebody already wins the lottery, then the chance that person wins the lottery a second time will be exactly the same as the probability they will win the lottery if they had not previously won before. In other words, having previously won the lottery does not improve or make less likely the chance of winning the lottery in the future. Will buying tickets regularly improve your chances of winning? You may be asking yourself. Can you boost your odds of winning by playing every day or every week, for instance? The short answer is no, because each lottery or drawing's odds are independent. So will buying more tickets for each game help your odds? Yes. Purchasing more lottery tickets for a game is the only thing that will actually increase your chances of winning, says Professor Glickman.
My friend Lizzie Cooperman had a podcast called In Your Hands, where every week she would ask the audience to make a choice for her. She did do an episode about buying lottery tickets, and she had some friends on who had studied it, who studied the math of it, and they had a recommendation, like basically like if you buy 100 tickets, your odds will go up by this much. So then she bought 100 tickets and then lost. So just lost money for a podcast, which sounds annoying. You can increase your odds. It's no guarantee of anything ever.
Right. Did those people I mentioned earlier just have a better outlook or something? What makes them win multiple times besides owning the gas station that they bought the tickets from?
Right. I don't know if he's a great example because that does sound pretty sus. He's buying every single ticket that came into that station, Laura. He should not have won 16 times.
The story that I've made up is he had an x-ray machine and he was looking at the scratch-offs and somehow, I don't know.
Oh, or he was Superman. Wait, were there scratch-off tickets? They weren't.
Wait, they were scratch-offs, actually.
He was choosing numbers. So then it doesn't matter if it is his store or not. There's a lot of things I don't know about lottery.
It doesn't say whether they were scratch-offs or not. It was 16 lotteries in 2 years, though.
So the question is, these people's attitudes have anything to do with them winning? I mean, it does feel like entering multiple lotteries will increase your odds of winning just because the more lotteries you are playing, the greater your chances of winning each lottery is. The lottery will tell you if you don't play, you don't win. So even though cumulatively, the fact you're entering into multiple lotteries does not increase your odds in general, you have increased your odds of winning each individual lottery.
Right. But a lot of people would say, well, that person won because they are inherently lucky. They have some sort of internal quality that makes them more likely. Like according to that study, the guy was saying, when you have a better attitude, you basically open yourself up to more opportunity. If I'm out there meeting new people and trying new things and I'm being really social, then I'm probably going to quote unquote be luckier because I will establish more opportunities for myself.
But if I go to a party and I psych myself up a little bit and say, I feel good in this outfit, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have some fun conversations. I'm probably going to have a better time at that party than someone who's like, I don't want to go to this. I have to go because I don't want to let so-and-so down. Parties are terrible. Like, we're going to have different experiences.
Right. Another thing they talked about, if I'm looking around, if I'm being more aware of my environment, then I will see things like coins on the ground or lottery tickets that are worth lots of money that someone has dropped.
If I'm open to experiences and if I just have my radar on for positivity, it does walk a freaking line. Which
I find irritating. In the efforts of creating Baader Meinhof with luck, I've decided that that's why we're doing this episode. All right. I'm going to improve my luck by talking about it. There's a book called Success and Luck, Good Fortune and the Myth of Meritocracy by Robert Frank. A belief in meritocracy is not only false, it's bad for you. That's the subheading. I really like this quote from Paul Samuelson. Never underestimate the willingness of a man to believe flattering things about himself.
Carve that into a statute. That is accurate.
Are you familiar with the concept of meritocracy?
Yes. In meritocracy, individuals believe that if they have success, it's because they deserve it, because they are more skilled, more capable, more something than other people. And truthfully, probably it's because they are from a better social standing, they're of a racial background that is popular. It is because of things that they don't control and not because of their performance or their skill set.
The idea that, what is the statistic that 80% of CEOs are white men who are taller than 6 feet or something like that?
What are the odds of that?
It's just such a weird coinkly dink that all the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are tall white men who have, a history of good education and wealth.
And we were talking the other day about stockbrokers, right? These guys go to fancy schools. They have fancy friends. They truly believe that their advice is good because they have the background, they have the experience, they're watching certain patterns, and they're never better than 50-50 odds. Like, they're never better than just straight odds, but they have the confidence.
Well, they're never better than luck. So the definition of luck is success or failure apparently brought on by chance rather than through one's own actions.
Yes. So coincidentally, 99% of our presidents have been not only white men, but old white men. And we've got another race coming up of 2 elderly white men.
Well, and also, did you hear this? Like, if you look back at all of their family backgrounds, every president is related. They are all related to each other.
Joseph Robinette Biden, you may think, what a strange middle name that is. What an unusual middle name that is. He is named for his great-great-grandfather, whom Abraham Lincoln pardoned for an accidental murder during the Civil War. So weird that he wound up
odd connection.
His family still winds up in politics.
What are the odds? So yes, under the assumption of meritocracy, the very notion that personal success is a result of luck can be insulting. To acknowledge the influence of external factors seems to downplay or deny the existence of individual merit.
But if we agree that merit doesn't actually affect anything, why doesn't that jive?
Do we agree?
What do you think about merit?
I think meritocracy is real and that every white man CEO earned it.
It's just because they're better than we are. And men are better than women.
They're inherently better. I remember having this conversation with an educated white man who was very smart and worked very hard. But I remember him saying to me, I've earned everything that I have. I came from very humble beginnings. And I said, yes, you came from very humble beginnings as a tall white man who is eloquent in his speech and can walk into rooms and is very smart and has access to certain things other groups do not have. And he was very offended.
But yes, coincidentally, up until 2020, the most funny, most successful comics were also male and white most of the time. And if you ask them, why are you successful in comedy? They'll say, because I'm funny and I work hard.
Like, you have to be funny also. Right. You can't be not funny at all.
You have to work, but it's hard to see those advantages when the call is coming from inside the house.
Another quote from Robert Frank: despite the moral assurance and personal flattery that meritocracy offers to the successful, it ought to be abandoned both as a belief about how the world works and as a general social ideal. It's false, and believing in it encourages selfishness, discrimination, and indifference to the plight of the unfortunate.
Right. It's that bootstraps idea. Because if I'm successful because I work hard and I'm smart, if you're unsuccessful, it's because you're not working hard and you're not smart. You're not trying.
You're not trying. I tried hard. And that's why I got my own sitcom within 6 months of starting comedy. It's
And also
not because my grandfather owns the network.
It's not because my mother was on Saturday Night Live. That is unrelated.
It's totally unrelated. It just worked out this way. Although widely held, the belief that merit rather than luck determines success or failure in the world is demonstrably false. This is not least because merit itself is in large part the result of luck. Talent and the capacity for determined effort, sometimes called grit, depends a great deal on one's genetic endowments and upbringing.
In the case of art, I've gotten in a lot of fights about this, but I want to talk about talent briefly, because talent, you try your hand at something and you find that it comes easily to you, that maybe you're doing better than other people who started at the same time. And while that can be encouraging, I don't think it makes for a career in art. I think that the people who succeed are the people who just keep doing it. People who are talented, sometimes when it starts getting hard, will drop out because they're like, well, this doesn't come easily to me anymore. This isn't fun anymore. So I actually think talent is not important, or not as important as work.
I think talent is important. You have to have some talent. I can't just be scratching black marks on a sheet and say, there's art, enjoy it, even if I'm hot and rich.
But I disagree. If you're scratching black marks on a sheet and you do it 1,000 times, your 1,000th one is going to be much better than your first one. If the first thing you do is great and everybody's like, wow, this is so great, you're not going to be motivated to improve. You're going to hit a certain level and coast.
I think my son is a living example of that, right? I asked him, let's go play soccer. Do you want to join a team? And he played it a little bit kind of casually. And he's like, yeah, I'm not very good at it. I'm like, dude, how do you think you get good at stuff?
Right,
because I think for him, because he's stunningly handsome and very tall and has the gift of gab, I think a lot of things do come really easily to him because he is really smart. He knows math concepts that I don't grasp yet, and he hasn't really had to try or study or do anything.
And this is between the two of us, we talked about this, the disadvantage of the talented and gifted kid, right? The kid who's a little ADHD, maybe kind of smart, you just get very used to not studying for tests, not really preparing for stuff. And I've coasted through a lot of things. And then when you get to a bigger project that you actually have to work at, it's sometimes difficult for me to do that because I've lived my whole life this way. It was just like, I'll do it on the day. Don't worry about it. It'll come together.
Because that used to work, or it has worked in some contexts. Circling back to the article by Sahil Bloom, The Art and Science of Luck. So there was a big study by a group called the Music Lab. The findings suggest that many songs or books or movies that go on to become hits owe much of their success to the fact that the first people to review them just happened to like them.
The opinions of other people can really form momentum for a piece of art as well. Like I read a thing where they were trying to track popularity of songs. And so they gave different groups of people the same list of songs. And in groups where the first couple people liked song A, that song would be more popular with the other people. But in another group of people, song C might have quote unquote better. And so people are very easily influenced by the positive or negative opinion of others.
Agreed.
People be peopling. But honestly, like going back to talent, when you think of people like prodigies, people who are unholy talented, like let's say in sports, like someone will say, oh, Tiger Woods, he was just born to play golf. He wasn't. His dad worked him incredibly hard. The Williams sisters, their dad supported them and really like encouraged them to work hard. And certainly they have certain physical gifts, but also they worked their butts off to become very good at tennis. Mozart's dad pressured him. Like if you scratch a prodigy, you're going to find a stage mom.
Right. And also I think, again, opportunity. Have you heard of Maria Anna Mozart?
No, but she does have Mozart's last name though.
Well, it was her name first because she's Mozart's older sister, who was a very famous pianist during her time. But because she was a woman, she really wasn't encouraged to play.
Well, do you think things are harder for women?
What, then or now?
Both. You don't think so, do you?
I don't think things are hard. I think women just need to pick themselves up by their bootstraps and create opportunities.
But one assumes Maria also had a psychopath workhorse dad. Like, oh, coinkydink, there's two incredibly talented composers and musicians in the same family. No, it's because their dad was driving them.
Right. But also, if you look at the time frame in which they lived, she was a much more popular pianist than he was for a long, long time. The thing that got her off track was getting married and having children. So what is luck and what is privilege? That's the title of an article in Work Life Central, Privilege versus Luck. Luck is the moment that your name is pulled out of the raffle drum. Privilege is what allows your name to be on the inside of the drum in the first place. What do you make of that?
This is the difference between an agent and a manager in Hollywood. An agent puts you up for gigs, says this gig would be good for my person. I'm going to enter them in that lottery. I'm going to put them in for auditions. A manager is someone who gets you on the short list for gigs, for like big jobs and magazine articles, and who is looking for bigger picture stuff to make you available for and find opportunities for. So it is a privilege to have this kind of person looking out for you, but then there's still a lot of luck in being the person picked off of the roster.
I think that's the piece that's missing. Like if I were to talk to that man that I was referring to earlier, I think he would say, I wasn't given any opportunities. I was just there off of my own grit and my own hard work. And that's not true. Right. He had to be put in the raffle drum and get connected with the people he got connected to. And those things came from this invisible privilege that some of us have. So yeah, referring back to that article, the thing about luck is that it takes the onus off of you. It makes your situation seem divinely inspired. And yes, there are certain elements of the divine in all things, but confusing luck with privilege completely disregards the inequalities in the world that we are working towards leveling up.
I'm just thinking about my own luck and my own attitude about it. Like for sure, it's easier for me to get jobs. It's probably easier for me to get into school, although the schools I went to were not particularly difficult to get into. The advantages that I was born with and I was raised with have benefited me 100%. But also, I try to expect the best. And I think that that is helpful because I do put myself out for more things. One of the great gifts of comedy, and I've said it before, is you reduce your fear of rejection because I've been rejected so many times.
You figure out that you're not going to die.
I have a disappointment feeling. I might feel a little blue about it. It sometimes hurts to put yourself out there and not get what you want. But also you realize if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to get what you want. I had a really weird time in teenagerhood, as so often we do, where the Tank Girl movie came out, and I was really envious of Lori Petty for being cast as Tank Girl because I really liked the comic book, and I really felt that I was a much better option. I had not put in for the audition. I had not auditioned. I didn't live in LA. I didn't have representation. I hadn't done any acting. They should have found me. They should have just known that I was the right person and I would have shaved my head. So given that everybody has their own level of privilege that is invisible to them, and given that you have to be in the bucket, do you not feel that feeling positive, putting yourself out for stuff increases the odds that you're going to get stuff?
No, I think if you stay home and order pizza,
right,
and don't talk to anybody and feel sorry for yourself, all the opportunities are going to come rushing in. That's been my experience up to now.
It's weird. There's something called the tall poppy syndrome.
It is a British saying, yes.
It really affects the people on the East Coast as well. You should never try for anything. You should never try to stand out. There's something shameful about putting yourself out there, as they say. And my ex-husband was raised in Detroit, Michigan. It was the first time that I experienced this attitude. When I started doing comedy and promoting myself, he was humiliated by this. And he was like, can't you just be really funny?
Buddy, we're not going to be working at the factory for $2 an hour. We got to do more stuff. We can't stick with that mentality. That may have worked for your granddad, but it doesn't work in this format.
You've definitely been raised to, hey, don't try too hard. Don't stick your neck out there. Keep your head down. Even though he was a very creative person and he was just really troubled by self-promotion.
Well, he has a story about that. And I hope that he's worked on it since. Because, I think we create opportunities, but also opportunities are, I guess what I want people to understand is that it's both. It's both. Right. So Warren Buffett once said, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone else planted a tree a long time ago.
So the thing that the person sitting under the shade didn't plant the tree, didn't really do anything to affect that. They're benefiting from that work.
Right. They're benefiting from something that someone else did. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of us fail to see that a lot of our accomplishments and achievements are unearned. They are purely luck in the sense that luck is a gamble and it's random. But, I think that working hard is really important. I think putting yourself into situations where you can, I have this conversation a lot with women in my office who are complaining about dating and how they can't ever find anyone. And I will say, you've spent the last 3 weekends binge watching true crime and working on your knitting. Unless the guy delivering your pizza is super hot, it's not going to happen. You have to try. Like, there has to be onus on the person.
Yes. I've met very few of my romantic partners when they showed up at the door of my house.
Actually, now that I think about it, my first boyfriend did just show up at my house. I didn't do anything. He showed up with my brother.
When I met my husband, we lived in a small community, and it turned out he lived within a block of my house. And I was like, well, the next time we break up, I'm just going to go door to door because this is very handy. I'm just going to knock doors until someone single and interesting come. And that's a lot of work.
Just make a mixtape, make a lot of copies, drop it off at people's doors, see what happens.
Hey, are you interested in being in love with me?
Are you interested in an LTR, long-term relationship, with this chick?
This one? Mm-hmm.
In addition to legitimation, meritocracy also offers flattery. Where success is determined by merit, each win can be viewed as a reflection of one's own virtue and worth. Meritocracy is the most self-congratulatory of all distribution principles. Its ideological alchemy transmutes property into praise, material inequality into personal superiority. It licenses the rich and powerful to view themselves as productive geniuses.
Meritocracy is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It makes the rich and powerful feel like they deserve to be rich and powerful. It's also, the backside of that is when you tell a man you have privilege, he will say, well, I'm not rich, so that obviously is not true.
Right. I'm white and I'm poor, so that means that I have no privilege in life.
But everything that you do have, you've gotten benefits from who you are and who you were born to be.
Right. So, Virginia, what are your closing thoughts on the topic of, is it luck or is it privilege?
I think the idea of make your own luck is a real thing. I agree that there's nothing, I was not born into having better fortune or better odds than anybody else. My privilege has gotten me what it's gotten me. But to believe yourself lucky, to believe yourself fortunate, to try to live your life with gratitude when you can, I think those things have their own rewards. Because if you sit at your house and don't try anything and don't ask for anything, you're not going to get the result that you want. What are your thoughts about the relationship between privilege and luck?
Well, I think that, I guess my takeaway is that I think that luck is a thing. It's real. It happens randomly and for inexplicable reasons at times. But I think a lot of times people attribute luck when in reality they were in the right group, they were in the right position, they were in the right office, and the thing happened.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with how much my belief in my own good fortune can start to smell like manifestation, which I don't believe in. But maybe I will have a surgery where the parts of my brain that disagree can communicate better.
If we just remove the frontal lobe, you don't have to worry about anything.
I kind of look forward to that.
Well, just pick the date. We'll get this thing on the books. So, Virginia, if anyone's trying to find you on the interwebs, how would they do so?
Well, I'm hoping that if you Google Virginia Jones, you will find something. But also you can go directly to my website at badinia.com. That's also my TikTok. If you're looking to get in touch with our podcast, if you have an idea, a compliment, if you want to send us a gift card, it's hello@mysistersatherapist.com, which you can also find on our website, mysistersatherapist.com. If you are interested in hiring us for a public speaking event, motivational speaking, maybe corporate retreat, if you have a thing where your ragtag bunch of misfits needs to win a yacht race in order to save a retirement home and you think that we might be of help, you can write us at hireus@mysistersatherapist.com. Laura, how can people find you and your work online?
Well, they can find me at my website, lauraryan.org. They can also find me at I am Laura Ryan on TikTok. You may have found this podcast as a result of my TikTok account because it's really...
Now, Laura, this is the part of the podcast where we read a listener review. Do you have one to share this week?
I do. This one is from Emmy ATX. The title is Great Podcast with a Funny, Familiar Vibe. It's like hanging out with your sisters if your sisters are a therapist and a comedian, respectively. Come for the comedy, stay for the mental health. Thank you, Emmy.
Thank you, Emmy. Well, we appreciate Emmy and we appreciate all of you. If you listen to the podcast and have not written us a review, we would really like it. Thank you for listening. We hope to have you listen again. And in the meantime, in the immortal words of Billy Ray Valentine, Capricorn,
we can make it, baby.
me and you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.